Alright, good afternoon, everybody. If you can hear me, I want you to type in the comment section that you can hear me, and I will be good to go with the class. Alright, bonjour. Can you hear me? Divine. Let me be very sure before we start the class immediately. Alright, you're welcome. Is the audio very clear? I want to be very sure. Bonjour. All right, you're all welcome to this class, and I'm grateful to have you here. We're going to start the class now. I did send you the notes, so what I'm going to do this afternoon is ensure that I speak to those slides you already have, and whatever question you have, like we did last week, I expect you to type your questions in the comment section, so that we can have a robust discussion and you are able to get every information that is required of you. Mind you, I'm going to be adding something extra to the live class. We're going to be dealing with some things that will help you during the exams. When we get to that section, you will understand better. So let's begin the class. The very first thing you have in your slide that I sent you is the topic we're looking at. Now we're looking at what we call futur simple. Le futur simple. Si on parle de futur simple en français généralement, on parle de futur, comment exprimer l'action qui va se passer. Now this futur simple we're dealing with this afternoon is very important, and I want you to take note of it. So we'll begin the class now. Futur simple. How do we conjugate sentences in the future? So basically, I'm going to introduce what future simple is all about, as you have in your slide. I'm going to talk about the meaning generally. I'm going to talk about how you can go about the conjugation of the verb, how you can navigate your way. And then I'm going to go ahead as well to give you practical usages because we'll deal with exam likely questions. So you don't want to miss it. Now let's begin with the very first one. When we talk about le futur simple in French, we are talking about the future tense in English. Now, what's the key thing you need to take note from here? Apart from the fact that in definition you use it to talk about things you want to do in the future, your goals, your lives, whatever other things in the future, it's the way of conjugating it in French is quite different from that you have in English. Now, in English, for example, for you to have a future tense, to say something will happen in the future, you have need of your modal auxiliary verb, like the will. But in French, we don't have that. What we have in French is quite different. It's quite different in the sense that, unlike English, where you are required to use the auxiliary to conjugate, to get the modal auxiliary to get your future, like I will be coming to school, I will be going to the market, I'll be going to church. In French, you don't have to use that will. You don't need the auxiliary for you to have the future tense. You don't need any other verb. You just need only that particular verb to ensure that the verb or the sentence is put in the future tense. Let's go now to the very first one. But before we look at the various ones as you have in your documents, the very first thing you want to think of is what we call the endings. We call them les terminaisons. Somebody, if you can you type terminaison at the comment section, or endings? There are about 8 of them, and these 8 endings, they correspond with our personal pronouns that we use to conjugate verbs. When we dealt with the past tense last week, we first of all wrote our personal pronouns. We added our auxiliary before we added the participle passé. But in this context of the future tense, there is no need for auxiliary. All we need is the verb and the personal pronoun, like you did in your present tense. So what are the endings? For you, you have AI. For tu, you have AS. For il, you have A. For L, you have A. For nous, you have ONS. For vous, you have EZ. For il, plural, ILS, you have ONT. And then for your L, the plural, you have ONT as well. Whether the verb is a first group verb, that is, it ends in ER, or the verb is a second group verb, it ends in IR, or it ends in ORE or ROE as a third group verb, whatever the group of the verb, the conjugation of the future tense is similar, is almost the same thing. And so let's go to the conjugation right now. The very first thing I gave you in your slide, the document I sent to you yesterday, is the auxiliary. Now, the auxiliary is very important. You master their conjugation, because when you by the time you are conjugating the past tense of the future, you also need their knowledge. So let's look at the very first one, the verb avoir. The verb avoir. Now, for the verb avoir, you have j'aurai. You have for je. You have tu auras for tu. You have il aura for il. You have elle aura for elle. You have nous aurons for nous. You have vous aurez for vous. You have ils auront for the il plural. And then you have elles auront for the elle plural. Now, when I was going through the few people that did their assignment, I saw some mix-ups. So that's the reason I'm going to take time to explain some basic things right now. Now look at this avoir I've looked at. For the je, it ends with that AI. For the tu, you have the AS. For the il, you have the A at the end. For the L, you have the A at the end for the singular sections. Now for the plural sections, you have your nous, you have ONS, you have your EZ for the vous, you have your ONT for the il and L at the plural level. Having said that, look at the example 2 I gave you. I said il aura un nouveau professeur la semaine prochaine. That's the sentence I used. Let me give you another sentence. Nous aurons une classe physique la semaine prochaine. Nous aurons une classe physique la semaine prochaine. That is, we are going to have a physical class next week. Nous aurons une classe physique la semaine prochaine. In this example, we have il aura for the future. But the one I just gave you now that is not in the slide I sent you, nous aurons une classe physique. I'm using nous, we. You see the verb ends in ONS in the conjugation there. So you want to also take note of that. It's very vital we do that. The next verb we conjugated is the verb être in that document I sent to you. Now we have je saurai. You have tu sauras. We have il saura. We have elle saura. We have vous saurez. We have nous saurons. We have ils sauront, elles sauront. Now my emphasis is on the terminaison, the endings. So you see, whether you are conjugating avoir or you are conjugating être, you are going to find out that the endings are the same. You are going to find that the endings, they are the same. So please take note of the endings. They are very vital and you don't want to miss out on them. Now, having established the endings of the future tense of the verb, the next thing I want to talk about very briefly is the formation of the future tense of the verb with ER verbs. ER verbs. Now, for the ER verb, you are going to find out that we don't need to change anything. We don't change anything. Rather, we just add the endings. We just add the endings and we have the future tense of this verb. We are going to come to the particular section very soon. I didn't put that in your slide, but I'm going to, but I just gave you some few examples, about 8 of them or 10 of them. But this class, I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to give you more. Now, as you look at the ER verbs, you are going to find that, like I said, you don't change anything to conjugate it. All you do is add the terminaison, you add the endings to it. And so in your document, I give you parler. Now I'm not going to use parler, you already have that. Let me pick manger, to eat. M-A-N-G-R, you should know manger by now. When you have manger, to conjugate the future tense, I don't need to change anything. For je, I will add AI, becomes je mangerai. It simply means I will eat when you translate it to English. Now take note, in English you have to put the will to have the future. But for the French, there is nothing like will. I just say je mangerai for je. For tu, I will add my AS. It's going to be tu mangeras. Tu mangeras. That is, you will eat. Now for il, I don't need to add anything to the il. I just add my A. Il mangera. For elle, I will say elle mangera. And then for nous, I will say nous mangerons. That is, we will eat. Nous mangerons. Now for vous, I'm going to say vous mangerez. That is, you will eat. I want to say the class is going to eat. I will say vous mangerez. Let's say, for example, we're in class and then people are hungry, it's late already, and people are feeling hungry. And I want to say, don't worry, after the class, à la fin de cette classe, par la grâce de Dieu, vous mangerez votre déjeuner. That is, at the end of the class, you are going to eat your lunch. Vous mangerez votre déjeuner. And so you want to take note, whether it's parler or manger or regarder. Let me use regarder. You are watching me right now. You are watching me right now from your screen, from your phone, from your system, wherever you are connected to the class. Let's say we have regarder. Regarder. ERV. All I'm going to do is simply just make sure I add my terminaison. For je regarderai. I want to say I'm going to watch a film tomorrow. I will say je regarderai un film demain. Je regarderai un film demain. I'm going to watch a film tomorrow. Je regarderai un film demain. Now I want to say you are going to watch a football match. Nigeria will be playing tomorrow against Cameroon in the AFCON. I want to say to you, talking to a friend, I will ask, I could make you ask a question. I could say, regarderais-tu? This is the way of asking question now, but in the future, regarderais-tu le match entre le Nigeria et le Cameroun demain? At least, will you be watching the match between Nigeria and Cameroon tomorrow? So you see, I could simply say, tu regarderais le match, regarderas le match entre le Nigeria et le Cameroun. I've simply used that regarder to make sure I'm communicating. Will you be watching the match between Nigeria and Cameroon? At least the AFCON round of 16. That's for tu. Let's say il regardera. For elle, we say elle regardera. For the nous, we say nous regarderons. Let's say we are in the hostel and then the Nigerian match is going to go on. So we say nous regarderons le match de football entre le Nigeria et le Cameroun demain au foyer. We're going to be watching the match between Nigeria and Cameroon at the hostel. And so we have vous regarderez, and then ils regarderont, elles regarderont. So please take note of this conjugation, and it's very important to know the terminaison. For je, it must be AI. For tu, AS at the end, irrespective of the verb you are conjugating. For il and elle singular is going to be A. For nous is ONS. For vous is A. And then for il and elle is going to be at the plural level ONS. Please, if you are in the class, make sure you drop a comment because that is your attendance, and also hit the like button so that I know you attended the class and you participated. So thank you very much. I already have your email and I'll be able to cross-examine those that attended classes or not. Let's continue. The next thing we want to look at right now is other ERO verbs. Now, there are some ERO verbs that you are going to have issues with if you are not careful. Number one of them is the verb appeler. Verbs that ends in ELER, then verbs that ends in ETER, then verb that ends in YER. Now, if you recall very well, when you study le présent de l'indicatif, the present tense of the verb, you were taught that some of these verbs, you change some consonants. There is an inflection of the consonants. Please, if you are having issues with that, I'm going to drop the link of a video that addresses that at the end of this class. You can watch that for knowledge sake so that you understand what we're dealing with right now properly. Now let's continue. Let's repeat the verb appeler. A-P-P-E-L-E-R. That is the verb. And ideally, you are required to just add your terminaison. J'appellerai, tu appelleras, il appellera, to have the future. However, for verbs that ends in E-L-E-R, like appeler, you are required to do beyond adding the terminaison. In the document I sent you, are going to find out that the consonant was doubled. Yes, we had to double the consonant of the L so as to be able to conjugate it properly. So take note of that. So we have j'appellerai, tu appelleras, il appellera, nous appellerons, vous appellerez, ils appelleront, elles appelleront. That is the conjugation. Now let's go to jeter. Like we did for appeler, we double the T in jeter. So we have something like je jetterai, tu jetteras, il, elle jettera, nous jetterons, vous jetterez, il, elle jetteront. You will see more of this when we come to the practical section at the end of discussing the theory sections. Let's continue. Take acheter. Now, unlike jeter, where the verb we have to double the consonant, the T, in verbs like acheter, we don't double the consonant. Rather, what we did was simple. We simply made the first E to carry over accent grave. That's how it is in French. And then we have j'achèterai, tu achèteras, il achètera, elle achètera, nous achèterons, vous achèterez, ils achèteront, elles achèteront. Now for YER verb, look at it now, YER verb, you will find that I removed the Y until you came to nous and vous. For some other people, they will not remove it, but for your sake, I have to remove it because the exam that we are going to be writing as students are unified, and this is the standard practice. You change the Y to I in your U, in your T, in your Il, in your L. And then in your Il and L plural, you also change that Y to I. But in the nous and the vous, like you have in your document, we maintain the Y. It's important, so take note of that. So we have je paierai, tu paierais, paiera, il paiera, elle paiera, nous paierons, vous paierez, ils paieront, elles paieront. That is the conjugation of the verb, the first group verb, as far as the future is concerned. And so before I continue and go to the next group, please, if you have a question thus far, drop it in the comment section. I want to be addressing them as we go along in this class. Please drop it in the comment section. We have 30 seconds to drop a question thus far. As far as first group verbs are concerned, before I go to the second group verb, it's important we do that. It's important we do that. So I'm expecting your question in the next 20 seconds. I'm waiting for your questions. I'm looking now. I'm still waiting. Okay, if the answer of no question, I want to believe you've digested that and you understand properly. Let's go on. The next thing is the conjugation of Second group verbs, yes. Second group verbs. In the document I sent you, I gave you basically 2 examples. I didn't bother to give you multiple examples because I believe you should know what second group verbs are right now. But if you don't, well, you can also go back to the channel and you'll have access to that. There is a video for that. I might also send it if I remember, but you can do that yourself. Now, there are 2 verbs I brought out in that document I sent you. We have fini and rempli. Please take note, there's a typographical error for the rempli. It's showing rempli in the second verb there. Please correct it. It's R-E-M-P-L-I-R. Rempli. That is the verb. Okay, somebody said, sir, I'm a bit confused. Okay, just pay attention as we discuss these second group verbs right now. You are going to get it and apply it to the first group verb we have dealt with already. Now, fini. The verb is fini. F-I-N-I-R-O. That is the verb. Now, to conjugate the future tense, you have your personal pronoun. You, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle in the plural form. For fini, like you did for the first group verbs, you don't need to change anything. All you need to do is add the endings AI to you, AS to tu, A to il, singular, L, A to L, singular, ONS to nous, EZ to vous, then ONT to il and L, plural, respectively. Now let's hit it. Take fini. We have F-I-N-I-R, you add AI, become je finirai. For tu, add AS, it becomes tu finiras. For il, you add an A, it becomes elle finira. For elle, it becomes elle finira. For nous, you are going to have nous finirons. For vous, you are going to have vous finirez. And then for your plural form, you are going to have ils finiront, and then you also have elles finiront. Basically, those are the key things you need to take note of as far as this is concerned. Let's go over now to the next verb, that is rempli. The same thing applies. You have je remplirai, tu rempliras, il remplira, elle remplira, nous remplirons, vous remplirez, il, elle rempliront. With this, I will move straight to the third group verbs. That is where we have a lot of issues. Now, please take note. I want to take my time to explain this one in details. Within the next 10 minutes, let's see how far we can run. You are going to find out in the document I sent you that third group verbs can end in ROE, OIR, or you can have it as IR as well. Not every verb that ends in IR is a third group verb. I'm going to demonstrate that to us very briefly when we get to the next slide and explain why to you. Now, let's look at these third group verbs. Generally, for some third group verbs, the one that ends in ROE, what we normally do, we remove the last E and we add the endings. You have, for example, attendre. It means to wait. You have j'attendrai, tu attendras, il attendra, elle attendra. And then you have nous attendrons, vous attendrez, ils attendront for the plural, elles attendront, elles attendront, elles attendront. That is for the verb like attendre. But if you look at the next verb close to it, the one in the middle of that particular slide, you are going to find that for the verb faire. Though it ends in ROE, it does not follow the same pattern with attendre. It's an irregular verb. We have je ferai, tu feras, il, elle fera. We have nous ferons, vous ferez, il and elle feront. Now, that is for faire. So, they are irregular. There's no fixed pattern. Look at the next one I picked there. Aller. We have j'irai. Although aller ends in ER, we cannot conjugate the future of aller like every other ER verb. That's because aller, like you've been studying, even in our passé composé, the last class we had, and it's an irregular verb, and so it will not go with the regular pattern. And so for aller, you have j'irai, you have tu iras, you have il ira, elle ira, we have nous irons, we have vous irez, you have il and elle iront. Somebody is asking for the course outline. Please, the course outline is in our Google Classroom. You can go to the Google Classroom and fetch it over there. Thank you very much for that. You have that. Let's go back to our class. The next one is the verb boire. We have je boirai, tu boiras, il boira, elle boira, nous boirons, vous boirez, ils boiront, elles boiront. You find that for that particular verb, boire, that il, elle in the document I send you, there is a mistake somewhere. Please make sure you correct that. There's a T in that il and elle at that level. With that said, let's look at the next thing. We have irregular verbs, like I told you, that ends in IR. Take for example, parti. Parti, you cannot say is an irregular verb, and that parti being an irregular verb, you conjugate is a third group verb. We have dormir, you have vêtir, you have couvrir, you have ouvrir, you have offrir, you have souffrir, you have cueillir, you have prier. These are all irregular verbs. But my attention this particular time in this section is in the following verbs. Devoir. For devoir, you have devrait. I gave you the stem you can use to conjugate the future. Now this is your assignment, everybody, and I'm going to be taking this as part of your CA. Devoir, voir, envoyer, falloir, pleuvoir, pouvoir, savoir, valoir, and venir. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In that your document I sent you yesterday, those 9 verbs are captured there. And I gave you the stem to conjugate the future. All you are required to do for you have devrait in front of devoir, add your endings. So you are going to conjugate all these verbs for me and send it to the Google Classroom. That is your work. And mind you, I'm noting it as okay. We are back online. Let's continue. The network fluctuated. I don't know what happened. So, like I was saying, you go to that your slide 10. You have 9 verbs there. I gave you the stem to conjugate the plural. The future tense. You are required to conjugate all 9 of them. Send it as an assignment to the Google Classroom, and then I'm going to note it is part of your CA. I'll start documenting your CA in this particular assignment. So take note of that, so you can come back and watch the video later. And so the verbs are devoir, the verbs are voir, we have envoyer, falloir, pleuvoir, pouvoir, savoir, valoir, and venir. I've already given you the stem. Add those endings and conjugate them for me fully in the je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle as your assignment. The next thing I want to talk about now is the conjugation of pronominal verbs. But before we go there, I want to leave the floor open again. Please ask your questions if you have any, so that we can answer your questions right now before we go to this next part of the class. Please, I'm expecting your question. Do ask your question now. So we have 30 seconds to do that, and then we'll continue with the class. Okay? No, it's not the assignment in 1 to 10 on the Google Classroom. And what I'm telling you, this assignment is in page 10 of the document I sent you. Those verbs there, those 9 verbs, I gave you the stem and how to conjugate them. So you are going to answer those questions. Thank you very much. So the one where you are asked to put the verbs in brackets in the future tense is not the assignment. The assignment is for you to conjugate the verb in that page 9 of your document. Okay, thank you for those questions. Now let's head now to the last section I want to discuss, and then we're going to look at the practical section. Now, those questions 1 to 10 you answered and sent to me on the Google page. Some of us did very well. I have it right in front of me here. But I've looked at this. Some people still have some issues with the answers that we're providing. Just 8 of us have actually attempted it, and I'm going to try and give us the corrections of those terms. In fact, you are going to see the corrections of those terms before other ones we are going to be dealing with right now. So let's continue. When you come to reflexive verbs, that's the next thing we want to look at right now. We have seen how to conjugate the future tense with the first group verb. We have seen how to conjugate that with the second group verb. We have seen how to conjugate that with the third group verb. We have agreed that the third group verbs are irregular. And I give you an assignment to that effect for you to master those 9, which are very germane. If I'm to set an exam question, well, of course I'm going to be part of the panel that will do that. Trust me, those 9 verbs are the verbs I'm going to be using because they are third group verbs. I pick 1 or 2 from second group verbs. So please make sure you conjugate them and send me that assignment to the Google Classroom. Everybody, thank you very much. So let's go ahead for pronominal verbs or reflexive verbs. Like I explained when we met in class 2 weeks ago, is what makes a verb pronominal is the pronominal pronoun, which is the so. So in your document I sent you, so raser, that is to shave, which you guys can relate to it. And then se coucher, everyone can relate with that. Se coucher, to lie down. Now, basically, the reflexive verb can be either in the first group, second, or third group verb. But the same formula applies. All you need to take note of is ensure that you conjugate the reflexive pronoun appropriately. And then you conjugate the verb as you would have conjugated it if it was just a non-regular radical verb in the first, second, or third group. The example you have in your document is so raser, you have je me rassaserai, you have tu te rassaserais, il se rassasera, you have nous nous rassasserons, vous vous rassaserez, ils se rassasseront. So those are the examples for the verb se raser when you conjugate it in the future. Now for se coucher, when you conjugate se coucher in the future, you have something like je me coucherai, tu te coucheras, il se couchera, elle se couchera. Nous nous coucherons, vous vous coucherez, ils se coucheront, elles se coucheront. So that is the conjugation of those verbs. Take note of them. They are very vital and they will help you a great deal. Now let's go over to those assignments you did. Only 8 of us attempted it. If I were you, I will go back and attempt it because they are very important. But let me explain the intricacies there right now. And this you need to watch out for. And this is the reason we're having this live class now. When you come to the example, the things you must watch out for. Look at this now. In number 1, you have je parlerai in brackets. And you have au fin demain. That is, I will be speaking to the women tomorrow. That is the sentence. If you look at the options, for A you have parle. For T you have parlerai. For C you have parle A. Then you have parle. If you look at it critically, A and C might confuse you if you have not mastered the conjugation of the verb in the future tense. Why do I say so? For what you have in A is par. That is correct if you are dealing with the present tense. That is the correct one. But when you are dealing with the future tense, you have to write the entire verb and add your AI. That is why B is the answer. Now, C is very tricky in the sense that you will still see the same AI that should end the future tense. But if you observe very well, the R is missing. And that is why B is the right answer. Now, for what some people did, the very first person, Ezekiel, thank you, you got it, B, okay, B. Okay, this person wrote it for me, that's correct. He wrote it, okay. So most of you that attempted that, you got that one. That was quite easy. The next one is, I'm going to be dealing with right now. Let's go at number 2. For number 2 is toi, tu donner le livre à. Now let's see how many of us got it that have attempted it so far. Now this person wrote D, the very first one that submitted. That is correct. Now for the second person, D, that is okay. D, okay, D, okay. D, I'm going somewhere. And then you got that one quite alright. So if you have not attempted it, please go and do yours. The next question was number 3. We have Isabel. And when you say Isabel, you are saying L at the same time. Isabel, you are saying L at the same time. Okay, let me take my screenshot of my attendance in a few seconds. You are saying L. Now, you are going to find out the answer in that particular one for you have finira, finis, fini. That should not give a problem. The answer definitely is going to be A. Let's see how many of us actually got it. You know that submitted A. Okay, got it. That's good to go. So I've left you with those questions to practice, to play with, and to go ahead. Let's look at number 4. How many people got number 4? On tape. When you say on, you are simply saying il or L at the same time. Now let's look at how many people got it. Okay, the answer for number 4 is A, and number of persons that got it will be quite interesting. Let's see how it goes. Okay, A. I'm impressed. A lot of us are getting it, but some people made some bloody errors. So please look at it very well. And if you have not done it, please try and attempt it and send across our way. I wouldn't want to stretch the class too much so that you can have time to rest and go for the next class, which you have in 20 minutes time. But let's see those who have questions. Please ask your questions now, and then I'll provide the answers right away. That's the reason for the live class. You ask your questions and I'll provide the answers. All right, your questions, please. Okay, still waiting for your questions. Like I said, your attendance is a comment in the comment section, and then you have a like, and that is your attendance, so that we're going to know those that are in class. The reason I'm asking is because after okay, no questions, thank you very much. The reason I'm telling you to mark attendance in the online class because after the exam with those of them that I took last year, some of them said they had missing score, they had this, they had that. When they came, we could not find them in our attendance, and it was a serious issue. Somebody said we understand to some extent. No problem. You can go over it again with the video. You have the video with you right now, and you have the document with you. I will, before the exam, or maybe before the week one starts, if I have the time, I will make a video. We have the scripts and the video simultaneously. But either way, you already have a copy of it, and so you are good to go. So I want to appreciate everyone that came to class. Please tell your colleagues We have 200 in the class. If the attendance is not up to 50 or 60 in the next class, I might just have to maybe just send me the documents and wait till I come, or just screen the video and send to you. But I want you to be live because I can answer your questions in real time. So please tell them if the attendance is not too encouraging. Let's be in class. I announced the classes yesterday, and I expect them to be in class. So you will have access to this video at the end of the class when it's finally processed. So thank you for attending. I want to wish you the best. We are there to this topic. Go back and review them. And then I wish you success in the exam when you meet questions like this. Thank you so much. It was wonderful. I'll see you in the next class tomorrow morning. We're having a class from 8 to 10. We will just have 1 hour class, and I'm not sending you the documents. Okay, somebody starts to answer number 5 question. Question number 5. Il aimait manger les fruits. The answer in number 5 is C. Is C. Is C. Is C. That is the answer. It's not B because B is for present tense. Okay. Thank you very much. You say for the assignment. Okay, let's go to slide 10. Now you have your assignment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pleuvoir. 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 In that slide 10, pleuvoir. You have pleuvrer, pleuvra, just like that. So follow those stem I gave you, add your termination, your endings. You should be good to go with that. So as we wrap up the class, take notes. I want to recapitulate everything now. Number 1, the future tense in French is not like you have in English. In English, you need the modal auxiliary like will. I will go to the church, I will go to school, I will go to class to have a future tense. But in French, we don't need that. All you need is the verb and then the endings. Put it in the future tense. So for ER verb, we don't touch anything to the infinity. We have our AI to it, and then we have the future tense. Then for the second group verb, the same thing. But for the third group verbs, you must pay attention. Go back to the video, go back to your document, read it very well, mash it together. You're going to find that they are dichotomous. And then for the reflexive verb, I've emphasized that the way you conjugate every other verb, first group, second, third group, the only difference is that for reflexive verb, it is just that we have the reflexive pronoun there, so you have to conjugate the reflexive pronoun as well. Having said that, I want to appreciate you coming to class once again. I wish you the best. Have a great day. This will be the end of the class. I will see you in our next class by next week, hopefully. Or we're going to have it online as well. Thank you for coming to class. Do have a wonderful time. Bye-bye for now.